Welcome back to the Print on Demand cast. This week, we're talking about what to look for in a POD production partner. Let's get into it.
If you're looking for a podcast that's fun, the Print on Demand cast is second to none. Travis and Josiah, they keep it real. Dishing out advice with a comic appeal. The Print on Demand cast, it's the best of the best. Covering all things print on demand. You won't be stressed. Weekly dad jokes to make you groan. But you'll keep coming back. It's a hit you've been shown.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, into the Print on Demand cast. It is great to have all of you here with us. And you may have noticed that what you just heard isn't the usual traditional, for lack of a better term, intro theme song for the podcast. There's a reason for that, and we'll get into that in the point of interest segment. So stay tuned. And then, of course, after that, we're going to talk about what you look for in a print on demand production partner. But before all of that, I have to introduce, as always, the co-host for this show. For all 195 episodes, we're just talking about how 200's coming up. And after that, the 4-year anniversary of the Print on Demand cast is just around the corner. But Travis, it's good to have you with me again, be here with you for another brand new episode of the Print on Demand cast. How's things going? How's your week? How's, catch us up a little bit, and then we're going to dive into some of the cool stuff that we have for the people.
Just a regular old week, had a client drop off some shirts that we're going to decorate for him this morning.
Nice.
And, trying to figure out, we're actually talking about some strategies for Christmas already. And like some products that we're looking at doing. And because there's obviously you got to do all the back end work and make all the mock-ups and, all of the elements, I guess, of the actual listings. And so that's going to take some time, and we'd like to have a lot of them up there by the time it all rolls around and Christmas rolls around. So starting to talk about that. Other than that, we're watching the Avs tonight, round 2. Super excited. Got the cool
Game
little
on,
hat.
right, too.
Yeah, we actually, Josiah actually made this logo. It looks like a regular Avs logo, but it has a Colorado C in the middle, which is a little bit different.
Yeah.
And we embroidered it back when we had
we
the
had
shop.
shirts,
Embroidered a
and
bunch
we
of
had
them. Yeah.
the hats, and we had all of the knockoff Avs merch that you could ever want. We could have provided for you at that time under the table, of course. We're not licensed.
Yeah, that's not going online anywhere. Let's just put it that way.
No, not at all. Not at all. That's awesome, man. Yeah, Avs are in round 1. Avs are in round 2. Nuggets are in round 2, but the Nuggets have been terrible the last couple of nights. So if things stay as they are, I don't think we'll be supporting them in round 3 unless something miraculous happens. But we'll see. You never know. And also, Travis, you're talking about getting ready for Christmas. Just so everyone knows, we're halfway through Q2 now. So Q3 is going to be coming very quickly. So it might seem like, wow, we are already planning for Q4. That's almost halftime. Okay. So we're going to have to get those plans into place, and we'll cover that as we get closer. We usually do like a yearly Q4 check-in at different stages during Q3. And then as we get closer to Q4, because you gotta be preemptive. You gotta be prepared. So, all right, well, let's get into it. Let's actually go to everyone's favorite segment of the week, the weekly dad joke.
Time for the weekly dad joke.
All right, Travis, you've got this one for us.
All right. Well, this is kind of short and sweet. I was just telling Josiah before we press record, I'm actually launching another series of books aimed at kids. I'm hoping, though, this time maybe I'll hit a few more.
Nice.
If you're offended by that joke, I completely agree.
Yeah, hitting kids with books is what we're talking about here on the Print on Demand cast. It's gonna be it's always a good time. So with that being said, we'll go straight into this week's point of interest.
Point of interest.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful bumper, the most moving emotionally, I think, that we've ever had in our time as the Print on Demand cast. So, as you guys might know or have noticed, like I mentioned, there's a new intro. There was a new intro. I don't know if it's going to be a permanent thing, but you might be wondering what was that? That was random. It was that hair metal. Yes, to all of those questions. So what it was is a couple weekends ago is in Estes Park here in Colorado, and at a songwriting retreat with some of my friends that are part of the creative team at the church I go to. And one of them was like, have you seen this AI software that writes songs for you?
Mhm.
And he showed me, and I was immediately like, two things: that's incredible, and also how horrifying, because it sounds pretty good. Most of the things that I've generated with it are pretty good. So it's called Suno.com, Suno.com. And I know we've talked a lot about AI and what it means for the world. So, and what it's going to look like. So there's a couple things you can do in conjunction. So I will do usually, we'll go to Claude.ai. Chat GPT would work too, depending on what you want or what you're looking for. So you just write a prompt for it to write a song. So write a song about the point of interest segment of the print on demand cast. So you just hit enter and it will write a song. And I never proofread the lyrics because why would you? It's better if you don't. So here it is. And then what you do is I'll just copy these lyrics and then go to Suno.com. So Suno.com, when you get there, you get 50 credits. It's like 5 songs for free, and it renews daily, right? So you go to create. You can go to what's called a custom mode, and you can paste those lyrics in. So we'll do this. And Travis, give me a genre or a style. You can have it generate random, or you can enter one. So which would you like? Do you want to give me one, or you just want it to generate a random style?
I'm looking at my Suno here and a couple of the showcase tunes. This is really funny. Appalachian death metal bluegrass.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know what that's.
Appalachian. Appalachian.
Yeah, look at you. Wow.
Death metal bluegrass. All right.
Yeah, why not?
Let's see what it does. So I need you to hit generate, and you'll see it gives you 2 options, and it populates almost instantaneously. You see it's loading. For those of you that aren't watching on YouTube, you're probably going to if you want to know how this works, go check it out. printondemancast.com/YouTube so you can watch along. I forgot to give it a title, so it's just going to say verse 1, which is whatever. You highlight it, you can right click it, or you can go over here to these dots and you can then, rename it. You can reuse the prompt. You can download it as well.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, and apparently there's a video that comes with it, which I still don't know what the video is. I've never actually downloaded the video to these songs. So you can click on verse. You can click on it like verse 1. It will open everything up bigger so you can see exactly what the lyrics are. And then when you're ready, you just press play. I have no idea this is going to be.
Yeah, kill this.
Wow.
This is scaring me. That was a bad prompt.
Yeah. We'll have it generate a random style. Acoustic indie. Look at that. Okay. And I'm going to name it point of interest. So for anyone wondering or we're listening or watching and you're a fan of Appalachian death metal, God be with you. To each his own. But that was, I felt like
weird.
I felt like I was in a horror movie or a Rob Zombie like biopic or something. It was very
it was a little much.
I got no bluegrass vibes out of that, by the way. Zero.
Okay.
Zero bluegrass.
Me
So,
too.
okay, we have an acoustic indie version. Let's see if this is a little more kind to us. Here we go. Nope, that's the wrong button. Where do I go?
I think you can go to your library and just play it from there. Yeah, there you go.
In the realm of print on demand, a segment stands out. The head point of interest, it's called. A tale of being extolled, capturing moments.
I don't like this guy. He's not my favorite artist.
No, let's check. Check this one.
Sake of being loud, you spread. It's the wildest dream ever say. It only like the sound.
She's not even using the lyrics. Wow, this was a failed point of interest segment.
What a terrible example that we've done here. I don't.
Now, to be fair, you don't actually have to populate the lyrics if you don't want to.
No, you can just unselect custom mode up here.
Yeah,
and
I did a song.
Just give it a prompt.
Yeah, what was the prompt I gave this thing?
Wasn't it like my name's Travis and tell me all the ways that I'm awesome?
Yeah, it was basic. Yeah, and I did it in dreamy, soulful, psychedelic indie pop, and came out pretty cool.
Yeah, much better than our Appalachian death metal bluegrass failed experiment that just happened. But anyway, there's a lot here that you can mess
really
with. Cool. It's really actually pretty horrifying. Let's see.
It's warm if you rub your sins in a room of prints on demand.
The gospel version.
Segment stands out ahead. Point of interest is called.
It's moving.
A tale worth being extolled.
Here comes the chorus, everybody. Wait for it.
Capturing moments frozen in time, images that make the product shine, from books to mugs and shirts galore. Point of interest opens the door.
So there you go.
We need to rehearse with them a little bit longer before they're ready.
Before we just let them go live. So, but yeah, okay. So that's this week's point of interest. Go check it out. Suno.com, Suno.com. Mess around with it. You can have some fun. You can do instrumentals as well. Just give it a prompt and just do an instrumental track, which I've tried using this last week as well. And so the point is that AI is scary, and the fact that they can do melodies and it can, there's a couple songs that I've had to generate that I'm like, this is good. It's moving. So yeah, go check that out. It's a lot of fun, and who knows what AI will do next. Eventually, Travis and I could just be AI, like get good enough to where it looks like us and it just rattles off based off an algorithm, but it would just be endless dad jokes. So let's move on to what we have for the meat and potatoes of this week. Again, what to look for in a POD production partner for this week's main event.
Main event, 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 main event.
All right, Travis, what do we want to look for in a print-on-demand production partner? I think we've kind of narrowed it down to but six things you want to look for.
Yeah,
in a print-on-demand production partner. So, let's just hit it at the top. I'll let you start.
Sure.
What's one of the first things that you're going to want to look for in a production partner?
I want to do a caveat though before we get into it, because some of you, if not, I know, sorry, Yeah.
It's not caviar.
It's caveat, one of the two. Because a lot of you already have print partners, you're already selling, et cetera, et cetera. I still think it's good to kind of revisit this occasionally. Yeah, it might be a lot of work to switch over from one print partner to another, but if there is a benefit to doing that, it might be worth the work for your business, for your brand, for what you're trying to do in print on demand. So even if you already have a print partner and you love them, I think it's still good to again, go through this maybe once a year where you just kind of test the waters, dip your toe in the water and see what other things are out there, because there are literally hundreds of places out there that are doing print on demand drop shipping for people. And so it behooves you to check into this at least once a year. You like that word? Behooves?
It behooves.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good word.
You devil.
So the first one that we're going to talk about is good quality. That's obviously going to be a huge one, because you want to know that what you're sending to your customers is going to be top quality product.
Exactly.
It's and even more so, and I've talked about this before, to where, even though you might not be the one that's doing the in-house production, the customer doesn't know or care that you aren't the one that's not doing that. So you want to make sure that you're, the quality, and the huge way to do that is to ask them for samples. A lot of them will give samples, whether they're free or discounted at their wholesale cost or whatever. But you want to get your hands on that product so that you know exactly what's going out the door. You can advertise and speak to it intelligently on all of your marketing, your social media, when you're talking about the product. Because if you don't check the quality and they send out something that is subpar, or you say that it's going to be, a Bell on Canvas type shirt, and they send out, a Gildan 5000, that's on you. You need to know what's happening with your production partner and what they're actually sending out to your customers.
Right. And this is obviously going to be, in my opinion, for each product you sell and each production partner you're considering, because it's not just, well, first of all, it's good to know, like, if you're selling t-shirts, what's the difference between a Gildan 5000, which is usually like one of the cheapest shirts, and a Next Level 3600, or a Bella Canvas 3001, or a Gildan 64,000, or I mean, the list goes on and on. So for your peace of mind, I guess it's good to have those different qualities and be able to go, okay, I want my brand or my shop or my store to represent this type of quality, or I'm just trying to get as many things out there as possible. And so I'm going to go with the cheapest option. But even in the cheapest option, you still want to see how it prints, like on a t-shirt, for example. Same thing with the difference between hoodies. A lot of people like to use the Gildan, what is it, the 18500, I think, Gildan hoodie.
Hoodies.
And how does that print compared to some of the other ones? The other ones might be more expensive, but if one's going to print worse than the other, and it's not even just the garment itself that prints differently, it's also the different companies, so Printify, as we've talked about, and Guten are marketplaces, and so they charge a certain amount, but it's based, and then they might ship it to a different facility. And one of the things we were talking about earlier is, if they're out of medium at your preferred vendor on Printify, you can select in there for it to automatically pass to another vendor that has that particular size, color combination in stock, and they can do it. But if you haven't tested that, you don't know how good of quality that particular second vendor is going to be. So you have the ability to just have them just tell you and not pass it until you inform them what to do and where to put it, or you can just cancel it with your client or with your customer. But you probably don't want to do that. So, but there's a lot of things to consider with quality, and it's not just it's just not like what t-shirt material you're getting, but what is the actual product your customer is going to be getting. It's not fair for you to send a product to a customer that you've never even touched. You have no idea what it's like. And then if there's a problem what are you going to do then? You've never seen the thing. So
Right.
you've never held it, um, and yes, certain products, there are less things that can go wrong, but like a coffee mug, it's either printed well or not. I still want to know if it's printed well,
Yeah,
before I choose this particular vendor for all of my customers. So,
for sure.
um, yeah, just freaking get samples, guys. Don't skip that step. I know it costs money and everyone's like, oh, you can start print on demand for free. Well, you can, but it's not advisable. Get a sample, spend some
Yeah.
money.
Yeah, your reputation is tied to the quality of your products most of the time. So a part of it is. So if you don't
Mhm.
want bad reviews, you're gonna want to make sure the quality is good that you're sending out, because that will
Yeah.
obviously help and lean towards people trusting your shop more. So
Mhm.
um, the next thing, Travis, let's talk about delivery time. So, what's something to keep in mind when we're kind of vetting a POD partner when it comes
Yeah.
to the delivery time, both domestically and internationally?
Yeah, I think this is the reason we put this second is honestly because this is another reason to get samples because you can test their delivery time. You know,
Yep.
so, um, I am currently testing a new print on demand partner, and they have their event or a uh, a marketplace as well. In a way, they charge one price, but then they might send it to different places, and so they do have some U.S. based. You can choose. I only want to use this particular U.S. based,
Yeah.
or they have some overseas companies as well. And on their website, the overseas says, well, it's a 1 to 3 production time, and then it's a 1 to 5 day delivery time. And I'm like, well, that's right there. That could possibly work for some of these marketplaces. So I'm currently testing a product that I purchased on April 19th, and here it is Tuesday, May 7th, and I've still not received it.
Mm,
I will not be using, even though on the website it said I should have it, in at the worst, like 8 days,
yeah. Yeah.
um, been much longer than that. And so though that's another reason to get your samples because you can test that delivery time. And yes, usually if it's overseas, depending on where you are, you want to try to have that in the country that
Yeah.
you're actually selling it. If you can figure that out, that can be challenging. It can also force you to just focus on one country
Yeah.
because you don't know necessarily where things are going to be printed.
Right.
Luckily, some of these companies, Gelato, even Guten, I think Gelato is probably one of the best at looking at the address that it's going to be sent to, and they will
Yeah.
choose a production partner in that particular country. Now, there you go. Another example of you don't know the quality because it's a different company because it's going to Switzerland. Your
Yeah.
buyer's in Switzerland, so you've never seen what that t-shirt looks like when that particular company prints it.
Right.
So you're at their mercy if you do want to sell internationally, but it's going to keep your costs down because you're not, you don't have to ship overseas and you don't have to ship, into other countries and deal with all that because it's coming from the same country a lot of the times, which helps with your margins. So it is really a balancing act, but delivery times are super, super important. Consider where it's coming from, consider where most of your customers are. You might be able to, if 95% of your customers are in one location and only 5% are overseas, it may not hurt your margins that much to go ahead and just ship from the same place every
Yeah.
time because it's only 5% of your business, if that makes sense.
Right.
But another thing to consider and another reason to get samples.
Yeah. Absolutely. The third thing is a large product range. It's good to know that, I guess, having kind of like a one-stop shop solution. I know that you can use different vendors for different things. If you have a t-shirt
Mhm.
vendor, then you have a mug vendor, and you have a home decor vendor. But you just want to make sure that they've got enough of a product range to help diversify. We always talk about maximizing your assets here. So you have
Right.
the designs already done. Do they have something other than t-shirts that you can possibly sell, whether it's mugs or whether it is wall art or a home decor item that you can sell it on? But
Mhm.
large product range is good to be able to expand after your initial launch, not necessarily
Mhm.
meaning that you need to put everything on everything, every design on every
Right.
single thing they have in their catalog, because then that's just too much for your consumer. It's just logistically too much. So still launch small with a select, few products that you've curated, and then expand as you have the ability to. And that's where you want to kind of check that. What else do they have to offer besides what I'm launching with?
Yeah, that's one of the things we're considering, with the Christmas products where I was talking about earlier, that we're getting ready to kind of launch. And so we're looking at all of these things, really: delivery times, product variations, quality, all of that stuff. I am getting samples of the things that we want to potentially sell so I can check those things. Um, but the other thing that you want to consider when you're looking at all this product range is like, what are the art requirements for these different
Yeah.
products?
Yep.
So um, one company might want it in this size, another company might want it in this size. And so um, making that decision is going to help you kind of get your art ready for them, and not have to, not have a piece of art that the dimensions are so small that, and they want it so big, you have to stretch it and then it doesn't look good, et cetera, et cetera. So not only a large production, a large product range is favorable, but understanding their size dimensions. I suppose you do that anyway. It's probably not necessarily, uh, I mean, it's not something that you wouldn't do or that you would make a mistake on. But
Yeah.
if you are using the same place and you always know that, so for instance, the Bella Canvas 3001 uh, in small requires a different file size than all the rest of them when I'm using Guten. And I absolutely hate that, because I have to have 2 print files for every shirt we make. I have to have the small, and then I have to have all the rest of the sizes. So I mean, that probably helps with quality, because you can make the small a little bit bigger and it makes more sense. Because if you do, a 10 or 11-inch wide design, on a small, that can get really wide. So it does make
Yeah.
sense, but it's a little bit more difficult. So again, those are some of the things. And that's why I mentioned, what are the dimensions of the products you want to actually sell, and looking into that kind of in this step of deciding, well, they have everything I want to do. Well, now let's go to the next step and let's look at each of the products and what they require for those, and see how easy or difficult it'll be to deliver that to them.
Yeah. Yep. The next thing you want to look for is platform integration options. And Travis, I know Make Your Mark Design uses Order for these,
Mhm.
for the fulfillment partners. So talk a little bit about, platform integration options. Obviously the big ones like Amazon, Etsy, Walmart, but not every integration is built equally. Sometimes there's more steps than others. So
Yeah.
talk a little bit about, what to look for and your experience with Order and getting those things to all communicate and talk to each other from the supplier to your end user.
Yeah. I think this is kind of, a lot of people out there, and probably a lot of our listeners are doing the one at a time. They're going
Yeah.
to a Printify or a Printful or a Guten or wherever, and you're designing the product. You're making up all the mock-ups or laying it out to where it looks good, and you're going, okay, this is what I want to sell, and then you're having that platform push it to your Etsy store, your Amazon store, wherever it actually can push to. And then you're going back in to that um, integration, or that Etsy, that you just got to push to, and you're changing out the mock-ups or switching them up with better mock-ups. You're changing some of the stuff and you're finalizing the listing, and then maybe you're pushing it to, to be live on that platform. And then there's other things with, like, most places integrate with Etsy because their API is really simple. But like Amazon and Walmart, some of them are doing some of that. But there's hoops you need to jump through, et cetera, et cetera. But you still have to, like, create the thing on the website and then go and finalize it on the platform that you're selling it on. The thing about Order that it gets us is that we are able to load all of our inventory into Order and tell it which production partner to go to. And they have the print file, they have a mock-up kind of thumbnail type generator, so they can see, like, the production person can potentially see what it's supposed to look like at the end. And when an order comes in, also Order integrates with all those sales channels. So Amazon,
Yeah.
Etsy, Shopify, Wix, you know, WooCommerce, you know, all of these. There's so many, big Magento, BigCart, so many different places, Wish, Wayfair. And so you can have one set, like inventory, I guess, like one large inventory that has all of the data that you need for each of your different platforms even. And as long as it's skewed the same, it doesn't matter where that sale is made. It's going to come into Order Desk and then be routed to the correct manufacturer for that product, and then sent to your customer. When it's marked as shipped, all of those platforms, if their integrations are set up correctly, will pass the shipping information through Order Desk back to the sales channel. So it's a very seamless thing once you get it set up. But it's not easy to set up, you know, and maybe it doesn't make sense if you only have 50 to 100 products and you're doing a brand. It doesn't make sense to do all of this work to set that up.
Right.
And it might be easier just to do it one at a time. So it really kind of depends on, you know, what you're planning on doing. But as you're looking for these vendors, it is important to say, okay, I know you can do Etsy, but how do you do Amazon? How do you do Walmart? If I want to scale later, how do you do Shopify?
Right.
If I want to scale later, I need to know the process for that, and if I'm even able to do that.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I'll say on this is, when you're uploading those products, or when you're creating those products on those platforms, a lot of times they'll just randomly assign you SKUs.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you don't already have a master listing sheet, get one and figure out how to. That's like so important to me, just like start with that, so you can skew them all. And then what those platforms will allow you to do is come back in after you've created it. You can actually add your own SKUs to each of your products, which, it's an extra step, but man, the organization that you have, because you have it all on a sheet, it makes it so much easier if you ever do want to switch providers or move to somebody else, because you have all of your data right in front of you. And I know I say that all the time, but I am going to continue to beat that dead horse. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So the next thing is customer service, which is another important thing, because as I mentioned in the first point, you are the face of, well, obviously you're the face of your company, right? Of the store, of your brand. And even if you're not doing the production in-house, you need to know if someone has a question, just standard like return policy of these partners. What does it look like if someone has a return? Do they need to add a picture? Do they need to send a picture? Do they need to send proof of purchase? But what does that look like? You need to have those initial answers right away, and also figure out with your print partner, if you have a question from a customer that you don't know the answer to, how quickly will they respond to you? Who do you reach out to? What's the latency? What's a lag time? So you can tell your customer, I'm going to have an answer within this amount of time, to manage their expectations as well, so that you're not over promising and then your print partner is under delivering, which really could just be a source of lack of communication on the outset, and not asking the right questions when you're first kind of vetting them and seeing if they're going to be a good fit for you. The customer service process is huge, and how you handle that, again, will affect reviews that you get, your reputation online, your star reviews, and that matters immensely. I know when I'm going to buy a product, I'll look at the reviews for the item. I'll look at the reviews for the store and read them, just to see, okay, I've never bought this item before, and I need to know if people are having a good experience or not. And a lot of that will stem from how you handle customer service requests. And it's important for you to know how your print partner works through those processes.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, for us, it's been kind of a pleasant surprise. Guten has been amazing for us. They even assigned me an actual account rep. And so I email them and their support team, and usually within an hour I have a response, and it's most of the time it's like a broken mug, and I get a picture from the customer and they refund me, or it's late. Someone says, hey, this hasn't arrived and I ordered it last month. And I'm like, oh gosh, you know, here's a refund. And then I ask them and they give me a refund, and it's very seamless. It's very easy. You know, and then to your point, Are you going to be is it a chat system? Is it an email system? How fast are they to reply? Is it a phone number? Like when we were making Mark Design, you pick up a phone and you usually talk to me,
Yeah.
or Tate, or somebody, and we could help you. Because we did have, I don't know, we had probably 30 or 40 clients that used us
Yeah.
to fulfill. And that was one of our selling points. We weren't the cheapest, but you literally could call us and we would pick up the phone. And so
Yeah.
where is that with your current vendor, and could that improve? I will say that a lot of the bigger companies have gotten a lot better at this,
Yeah. Yeah.
than since I started way back when and was exploring with some of these guys. You couldn't get a hold of anybody. It was really a pain in the butt. So
Yeah.
luckily that's becoming a thing of the past. They're realizing the need for customer service and they're changing their ways.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Which is good.
Yeah.
Because it
Good for
also
everyone.
reflects poorly on them if they don't help their
Yeah.
partners fit sufficiently, and it affects their reputation as well. So,
Mhm.
and then the last one we have here on the list is pricing for goods and shipping. You want to, especially when you're shopping and kind of vetting, compare prices. There's some,
Mhm.
the prices might be different, and it makes a difference in your bottom line, what you're taking home, what your cut is, what is their percentage split, how does it work? Is it a percentage? Is it just a fixed cost per item plus ink or plus print, and then you take, the difference between that and whatever you set the retail price at?
Mhm.
Those are the things you want to know, because that's obviously going to affect your take home, what you're going to make per transaction, and their
Yeah.
pricing is going to affect that. Um,
Mhm.
so, Travis, what are some things that you look for or you would recommend? Like, hey, when it comes to pricing goods and shipping costs, keep this in mind as people are shopping for their preferred partner and vendor.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these vendors they're kind of changing as they go. I mean, there's different things they're launching and products that help us get better pricing, and tiers and sales tiers, and that's based on quantity and things like that. And so they all have different programs, and I think digging into those programs to understand what's going to happen when I do scale this business, when I am selling 50 a month, 100 a month, 1,000 a month, what are the benefits? Are my prices going to come down, or are they going to stay the same? And typically everybody, when you start, a lot of people look at Printful and they look at Printify, and Printful is typically the most expensive, although they do have tiers. If you sell certain amounts, you can lower your price over time. And then they also, the difference with them is they do all of their production in-house. And so the quality is going to be the same if it's coming from their West Coast facility versus if it's coming from their East Coast facility, because they have the same operational standards, and the way they actually print and the way the ink profile or the color profiles are on their
Yeah.
machines be the same, because it's the same company. Versus Printify, again, a marketplace, typically cheaper prices. Same with like a Guten, typically cheaper prices, but it's a marketplace, and so there's a little bit more of a quality, roulette, if you will, a little bit. It's not roulette, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
One place might be a little bit different than another place, depending on where you get those things from. But yes, the other thing to consider is the shipping price. And I know you mentioned goods and shipping, because
Yeah.
a lot of times you'll go like, oh my gosh, I can get this Bella printed for, $8, but shipping is, 7 or something
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
whereas another company might say, yeah, it's $9, but the shipping's only 3 or, 4. So, and so obviously adding those things together to get your final price is really what you're interested in.
Yeah.
Um, because a dollar on a t-shirt over time can make a big difference. And it sounds,
Yeah.
oh, it's only a dollar, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to change all of my stuff for just saving a dollar. But, different companies sell a 3,000, a Bella 3001 for different amounts.
Yeah.
It's all over the map, honestly. And some companies might sell one shirt cheaper than they sell and then another company might sell that shirt higher, and then another shirt
Right.
less than and so it's all kind of different, and it's based on, a lot of times it's based on what kind of deals are they getting from the actual manufacturers. And because they're buying so many, they get a lower price on that Bella 3001. And so they can afford to charge less for it. And they pass that savings on to you. So, but they don't have maybe the same type of deal that another company has with Gildan, for example.
Yeah.
So, just, you don't know that, you might think, oh, well, I'm getting the best prices because I went with this company and, this one product that I use is really cheap. So I'm going to launch these other products. Well, have you checked the other companies on those other products? Because they might be, more expensive.
Right.
And then the last thing I'll say about it is some of these companies now, Printify's had it for a while, but some of these companies will have like a pay $20 or $30 a month and you'll get even cheaper pricing.
Yeah.
And while that's super attractive, make sure you run your numbers. How many things do you have to sell to pay for that $30? And it's not just, oh, well, I charge $30 for my shirt, so I only have to sell one. No, what's your profit on that $30 shirt? Because it ain't $30, and that's not paying for that $30 increase, subscription or whatever. So how many do you have to sell? How many are you selling? And does it make sense to pay that extra to get the lower prices? So sorry, guys, you're going to have to do a little math. That's just the way it goes.
That sucks. I don't like that at all. Math is not fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Travis, anything else as we kind of wrap up this list that you can think of or want to add to before we put a bow on this one?
We tried to think like, what else is there?
Yeah, that's true. We did
before and we didn't. But if you guys that are listening are like, hey, what about this? Please, send us an email at info@printondemandcast.com or, post something in our Facebook group. There's been some discussion in there, people showing their stores and asking questions and different things like that. It's not a super active Facebook group. I wish it was more active, but that's on you guys. If you want to make it more active, not only just, post your questions, but throw your opinion on some other people's stuff too. That would, I think just help the community as a whole and maybe get some more, some better advice in there. And, that's what we're about. We're doing this whole show because we want to help you guys and trying to do that. So help us help you. Isn't that
right?
From a
help
movie
me help you, like Jerry Maguire?
Yeah, Jerry Maguire. There it is.
Is that what that
and
is?
then also show me the money.
Yeah, that's right. Show me the money, indeed, which is both applicable. Both quotes are applicable to this particular show. So as Travis said, you can hit up the Facebook group at printondemandcast.com/Facebook. You can also, if you want more information, more insights in the print on demand industry, an extra dad joke, find out what Travis is up to during that week. Maybe he's at another hockey game with me. I don't know. Maybe we're playing poker. Who knows? But you get a little insight there as well by signing up for the VIP email list. Again, printondemandcast.com/VIP is where you can go to do that. You'll get one email a week on Wednesdays, typically, or Thursdays, depending. But we're not going to spam you. It's not going to be egregious. You're not going to be annoyed. But if you want to know more about what we talked about in the show, a deeper dive, or something that maybe we didn't touch on the show that's going to be in the email that could be on future shows, that is a place to do it. You can also reply to that email. If you have questions about this particular topic that we talked about today, you can email us directly by replying and shooting us your questions or your insights on this particular topic. And you also get a design calendar. At the top of the show, we talked about Travis is getting ready for Q4, and that sounds crazy, but it's almost the end of Q2. We're almost on the latter end of Q2. So halftime is almost here in the year. And so what this design calendar does is help you anticipate things that you can be designing for up until Christmas, all the other holidays that fall in between, or special occasions or events in the country and the calendar. So avail yourself of that as well. printondemandcast.com/VIP. Give us your email. We'll give you that calendar, and then you'll get one email a week with extra tips and tricks and insights and an extra dad joke. So, Travis, anything else before we send this all the way home?
Nope.
That was awesome.
All right. Well, there you go. So we'll see you guys next week, right here on the Print on Demand Cast. And until then, for Travis, I'm Josiah. We'll talk soon.
See ya.
Hey, babe, thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Print on Demand cast. We hope you enjoyed the Totally Tubular Show. If you got a question or a suggestion for the show, send Travis and Josiah an email at info@printondemandcast.com. Want to be wicked nice? Take a minute to rate and review the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe now so you don't miss next week's episode. See you next time, for sure.